Hey guys, welcome back to Studio 70.
Welcome,
If
welcome.
you're new here, just wanted to introduce myself. My name's Eju,
And
and
I'm
this is
Shavak.
my
Thanks for joining us today.
the star of the show right next to me. And today we have Does He Know, meaning this Kent, who's one of the folks that were involved, and we'll get into that very soon in the Jennifer Dulos case. So it's gonna be a good one. But first,
First, just to let you know, this is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please do your own research and always be kind to others, neighbors, family, even strangers.
so we're gonna talk about this case. We're gonna watch a little video. We'll get into that in a second. We're gonna comment through it specifically about Kent and some of his involvement, but you're gonna want to stick at the end because we're gonna talk about something very specific in the preparation of the grave and how
Well, this
Kent
is a good
was
one.
how Kent
Mhm.
was maybe involved in that and some other possibilities. So please stick with us to the end so we can go through that analysis and have that discussion. So here we go. Let's see. So every
Look at
time I
that
look at
face.
this, man, his look at his face. It's
I
like,
know.
and he seems to be always like that. He's like, I got caught. What? I got caught. So, yeah. So this video that we're gonna watch is again by Kendall Rae.
Yes.
It's like later on the other video that we watched. She's awesome. She's got millions of subscribers. She's been doing this for a while. She's very good. And if you didn't catch it last time, what we said is that we don't want to reinvent the wheel. Do the same video that somebody else
Exactly.
did, kind of very similar. That we want to do is look at that together and let's add more to it and let's go a little further into it because not all these cases we're always going to have new data coming in where we're going to rehash and redo it. So a lot of this is conversational. And if you're new here, so let me back up. So please go and subscribe and support her. That would be great.
Yeah.
And if you're new here, we have our virtual crime board, which is what we do is we put aspects of the case on the board and we put, what is factual, what we think is possible. But a lot of it comes from you guys as a
Yeah, the
community when we put
community. Yeah.
polls out there. So you can see our community vote. We said that, or you guys said that basically you feel like Fotis and Michelle are the main ones that were involved. Kent was kind of like a question mark. And the latest one that we just did recently, votes are still coming in, but the community vote for the body, see down below, is that most of you believe that Jennifer her body is somewhere in that vicinity, meaning in the house or in the woods or somewhere around there, that she didn't wind up making it all the way to the SUV to the red truck and made her way back. So then again, that's just a community thing, but just want to explain to you guys how we do it here. Now, without further ado, we're going to get into talking about and watching this video together. We will make some pauses for comments and let's go. Just a few minutes of this. So here we go.
Kent Mowini, charged with conspiracy to commit murder.
Mowini was arrested by state police Tuesday and is charged with conspiracy to commit murder. Mowini served as Fotis Dulos' lawyer in the past, representing him on civil matters, including a lawsuit filed by Gloria Farber, Jennifer's mother. In Mowini's arrest warrant, his name appeared in both Michelle Draconis and Fotis Dulos' alibis for the morning Jennifer Dulos was reported missing, May 24th. Mowini was interviewed twice by police. First, he claimed there was no meeting scheduled between Dulos and himself the
Nothing
morning
to
of
see
May
here.
24th. But in his second interview, he
Ugh,
says there was
look
a
at him.
prearranged meeting,
Oh, my
stating he
goodness.
arrived at Dulos' Jefferson Crossing home just before 8 a.m.
This is my
where
twin
he
brother.
stood for almost an hour before leaving without seeing Dulos. Mowini also claimed he had a
Alibi.
concussion from
Yep.
falling down a set of stairs the day after
Where
Jennifer disappeared
is the
and had to
medical
replace his cell phone
evidence
from
of
the
that? What
damaged
hospital?
phone
Doctor?
records show Mowini called Dulos the night of May 24th. When Dulos was allegedly dumping bloody bags of evidence in Hartford. But Mowini denies any phone contact with Dulos that day.
Also, it turns out that back in the spring of 2019, Ken contacted an old buddy of his from the Windsor Rod and Gun Club.
Oh, it's pauses here. So, well,
Yeah,
like,
this is
who used his
interesting.
phone? A ghost? It's it must have been a phone error. Or, oh yeah, I don't remember. I hit my head. I got a concussion. How do you know you got a concussion, buddy? Did you go? Where's your
Where's the
records?
evidence?
Oh my
And
goodness!
he should know this. He's
I
an
broke my
attorney.
phone. You didn't have an outer box. This is so whatever. I have to laugh because it's so ridiculous.
I know, but this is just more ridiculous because it's coming from an attorney. Someone is supposed to be reputable and
Well,
honest. You would think.
you would think, but there you go.
This is
I mean,
crazy.
people are people, no matter what walk of life, there's
Mhm.
good people, bad people. But the reason why I pause it here, guys, is pay close attention to this specific part because this is where it talks about the part of the great. And we're going to talk about this later, the hole that was dug at this gun club. Originally, people thought the hole was dug at the park.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's not true.
That's an error.
Because
Yeah,
when I first heard that, it was on the internet too. I thought that was the case. This was a long time ago.
exactly.
I just want to clarify that, and this is going to explain it much better.
To my knowledge, this club is essentially a property for hunting, and
Mm.
even though he was the founder of the club, he ended up leaving it for whatever reason. Well, it turns out that in March of 2019, 2 months before Jennifer went missing, he phoned up an old friend of his asking how he could gain access to the property. And then, between March and May, investigators traced his phone to this area of the club. And one of those times was only days after Jennifer went missing. And what was Kent doing here, you might ask? Well, investigators believe that he was digging a human grave, and they
Oh my
say they have
goodness.
proof for this. On May 18th, 6 days before Jennifer went missing, 2 men were hunting on the property when they came across a hole that they
Mhm.
described as 100% a human grave. The hole
Now, sorry to pause it, but Shrek, I just thought of this as we're watching this. That hole, in this context, we're assuming it was for Jennifer, that he was helping out Fotis, which is
Mhm.
probably the case. But one may also think, too, that maybe it was for his ex-wife or wife, meaning Kent's. That's another possibility
Yeah, could be.
that I haven't heard people say. But we're assuming it's for Jennifer Douglas, but maybe it was for his own purposes. Again, just throwing it out there.
It
All
was
right, let's
good.
continue.
had been covered with metal grill grates, but when they looked beneath it, they found a blue tarp and 2 unopened bags of lime. And I'm not talking about limes as in the fruit, I'm talking about lime, the chemical
And wait to the end because I'll talk to you how lime affects the body. She'll mention a little bit here, but I'll go a little bit further.
compound that is known to disguise the scent of decaying human remains, of decomposition. But at the time that
There's
these
more to
guys
that.
found this, they didn't feel like they had enough of a reason to report it because no one in the area had been missing and whatever. I
Makes
mean, in my
sense.
opinion,
Just
you find
weird.
something like that, you report it. But
Yeah.
luckily they did report it, and
They
it wasn't
did, and that
until
was a
after
good-
Jennifer's disappearance
thought.
that they realized that maybe what they came across had something to do with it. But unfortunately, like I said, Jennifer's remains have never been found. And when they did a full search of this property, nothing came up. And by that point, someone had already filled the hole and made it look like it had never been.
I've never been there. Yeah. So basically, too, it's very easy that it got back to Kent through his friend or through other people.
Yes.
Like, hey, they found the hole out here. Do you
Mhm.
know anything about? I'm sure Kent found out. So anyhow,
Been touched in the first place. It's so bizarre and frustrating to me and so many others because it really does seem like that hole could have been meant for Jennifer. But going back
Mhm.
to Kent's arrest and that whole ordeal, his bail was set at $2 million. And unlike the other 2, he was unable to post it. So he sat behind
Yeah.
bars until later that
Mm.
year when it was reduced to about $250,000. And not to get too far ahead of myself, but Kent ended up being placed back in custody after tampering with his GPS ankle monitor. Super
surprise,
smart.
surprise.
And he
Ooh.
remained behind bars until
Ankle
he was able to pay his
monitor, wow.
bail again in December of 2022.
And just to let you know, that bail, I forgot what percentage. I used to know off the top of my head. But when it's over a certain amount, I think it's like a set percentage. Don't quote me here because I have to go back and look it up. And every state may be different.
Yes.
I think it was like 17% or something like that. And you had to pay a fee. But when you're talking like the $2 million one, that's
Yeah.
still hundreds of thousands of dollars. At a later time, I'll double check those figures. But basically, it's still a lot of money that he had to come up with, is my point.
Now, as for Michelle and Fotis, her bond was set at $2 million, which she posted, and his was set at $6 million, which he also posted. And
All
if you
right.
thought that maybe things would be smooth sailing from here, unfortunately, that is not the case. In fact, things actually get really dark at this point because on January 28th, 2020,
Mm-hmm.
Fotis didn't show up for an emergency bond hearing. And so
Okay,
police
so this
officers
gets
went to his
into-
house.
All right, we're gonna pause there because this gets into more of like Fotis about what happens to him and Michelle, which we covered in other episodes. Which, by the way, we will leave a link at the end if you want to know more about Michelle Troconis and what happened to her at the trial. That episode will be available at the end of this video. So check that one out.
Yes, that's a good one as well.
So, want me to go first this time? Okay. So I'm just going to walk you through, guys, what I think. Well, actually, let me tell you a bit more too. So when she mentioned about the lime and the grates and everything like that, and that disguises the decomposition of the body, the smell. Well, that's part of it. But what the lime actually does, and again, please do your own research. I'm not a criminal expert or anything like that. But from what I read and what I know, is that the lime disintegrates the body much quicker and it kind of turns the bones and skin and everything into kind of like sludge. So there's like basically remains are pretty much gone. So that's one end. And what's really interesting is that, yes, that hole got recovered up, but could that hole then been dug and moved somewhere else? And I'd be curious to see. I don't know if they went back to that hole, if they redug it up to see if those grates and lime were there. They're probably gone. So I'd be curious to see what happened there. So Chirac, what are your thoughts on all that stuff?
Yes, I actually think you're actually absolutely right, especially when you talk about the bonding. I think it's a 10% someplace, and then there's another 7%. So it's something like 17% that he had to pay. But with Kent, like you said, I think you made a good point when you said that there's definitely was a grave there. It could have been for Jennifer or it could have been for his wife, right? Because he was definitely in some hot water there as well. So this is just another tragic that happened, and it happened in Connecticut. And we actually went near the area where Fotis lived, right? We took that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of forest. There's a lot of areas where she could be as well, because when we were driving there, I noticed that there was a lot of like forest area where there's no houses and it's just a lot of trees. So that's something
Yeah.
that, she could be, because, you drive
Sure.
and he's like, what is this? So when you go near their home, it's like almost it's a private area, and then there's like no house adjacent or next to it.
So a couple more thoughts before I get into that, though. Just a quick pause, guys. If you can like the video, if you can help us comment, like, subscribe. Even if you watched this before, if you just take the second to subscribe and come back, that'd be awesome. That really helps us out. There's a lot of things we want to do, so thank you. So one of the things that I want to piggyback off of that, Shrek, is that two things. One is that if he brought Jennifer back, and regardless if it was a whole or dismembered, God forbid, but back at the house, the woods area, yes, that could be done there. And of course, using lime, there would be no way to ever recover from that. The second thing is, I'm wondering too. Now, a lot of people thought maybe the hole was dug in that park. I'm not saying the park right. Waverly Park, down there.
No,
In fact, we should try
no,
to
they
go down.
dig. They actually digged over there, and
They didn't find anything.
anything.
So what I'm thinking is they probably said, "Oh man, the gun club. There's hunters. There's a lot of people around the area. It's going to be easier to find the hole." They probably, if that method was still considered, I wouldn't be surprised if that hole was dug behind Jennifer's house in those woods, because they have 2 acres of land, so there's still enough to a woods back there. And then there's also other woods. If you look at Google Earth and you come down on it, there's quite a bit of land back there.
Right.
And
But
how
also,
often somebody can walk back there?
Yes, and I think it would probably be more of a private area where, like, that kind of other two
Yeah.
guys found that. So it's like, okay, more people. If it's public, more people will be walking, and
Exactly. There's more chance. They don't want
more
to have the
chance.
whole
Yeah.
fine. So if she did make her way back to Farmington, back where Fotis' house is, there's plenty of woods there. I know they did some searching, but still, again, too, because they found her bra and some of her clothing, or at least the bra at the very least, it kind of gives indication that the clothes were taken off the body.
Yes.
And I would think if somebody's gonna hide, kind of dissolve the body, they're not gonna put lime over clothes, because it's not
No.
gonna do as much. They're gonna strip the body naked and then put the lime over it so it can go even faster. So it's really sad if that is the case, because Jennifer may never be found.
Alive.
I'm just hoping.
She would never
Yeah.
be found alive.
Well, fine And I'm thinking anything intact, any bones, anything that where the family can get a little peace. So that's very sad. We don't know, but I'm hoping that between Kent and Michelle, they know something, and they're probably using this for bargaining chip. I'm hoping they say something that can lead so the family could have some peace.
Yes.
So that's what we gotta say on that part of it.
And my heart
What do you
always go
guys
out to
think?
the family as well, Gloria and the family and the kids. I know it's heartbreaking when you,
Yes.
because you can't really rest until you find a body.
No, I would never rest either for that one of my children.
Yes.
So, guys, on that note, we want to say thank you again.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you guys. And we got a lot more stuff,
Friends and
content,
family.
a lot more discussions to be had.
Studio
So
70.
thank you. See you soon.